Welcome, Will, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Joviac, this new album, Auto Fiction Part 1, shorts, and more things related to the metal world in general. So we started by asking, how are you doing today? How is the band during the last couple of years? Because during the last 5 years, because your previous album was released in 2020.
Well, first of all, I'm doing great. I'm super excited because our third album, like you said, it's coming out after tomorrow, and I actually have the physical copy right here, which I'm super happy with. The cover art came out great. So wink, wink. Get your copy right now. No, I'm doing great. Yeah. Wait, you asked me how we've been doing for 5 years, or
Yes, that is correct. Or the band in general. The band in general.
so yeah, where do I start? All right. So I founded Joviac when a previous band of mine pretty much came to an end in 2016 or something, and I was still studying music production back then, and I needed a project part to my bachelor's thesis, and I thought, I'll kill two birds with one stone, and that's essentially how the first album of Joviac came out. If you're interested to find it, it's on Bandcamp. Um, yeah, but I think that the band pretty much grew into like a real band in 2020 when we released Here and Now. Unfortunately, then COVID came around and stuff, so it was a kind of a rough period for I think for everyone, obviously. But yeah, we've gone forward a lot with everything we've released, and just reaching a little bit more, and yeah, I think playing a little bit more, better music as well with each album. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, okay, amazing, amazing. And for this one, how do you compare this new release it because we are outside the pandemic and your previous album was released during the pandemic times. So how it was how it was the things compared to the previous you released for your second album during the pandemic and now without the pandemic.
Well, when we released Here and Now, things were really uncertain. We were only able to actually play like one show to support here in our hometown of Tampere, Finland. And yeah, it was just a really uncertain time, obviously. I think everyone can relate. And then we decided to use that downtime to answer this kind of nagging question that I had for years since the founding of the band, which was that should we or should we not have an actual keyboard player? Because up till then, we always had keyboards, but they were always kind of in the background. So it was just something that I did, like pads and more atmospheric stuff. But then I wanted to see if we could find someone great to play with and see how that felt. And we only had a live second guitarist up till then. So we basically used the pandemic downtime to try a new form for Joviac, and it paid off because we were able to find Johannes and Tuomas, who are our second guitarist and keyboard player now. And yeah, obviously, now that we're gearing up to release the third album, we don't know quite yet how it'll be received. By the way, I read your really kind um, review of the album. I just want to say thank you for the kind words. I don't speak Spanish myself, but I put it through Google Translate. I think I got the basic idea.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So what I'm hoping for, to answer your question, is just that we'll have more gigs where we'll be able to, get in front of more people and just do this whole thing more normally.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So, and well, we are talking about from 5 years of difference with the previous album. So it means, so about when do you decide to write songs for this new album? It was during the last compositions from the previous one, or it was outside of the pandemic, because the pandemic ended on 2000 at the end of 2021, and then 2022 is more the life in the world now better than that moment. So when do you start writing songs for this one? It was during the process of the last one, or perhaps some of these songs are rescue for the previous one, or all songs are completely new.
These are, let me just check. These are these are completely new songs. When we came together as the new form of the band with two new members, we released two singles, Dissemination and The Fine Line, as kind of in between songs in between albums, and that's after they were released. I think in 2022 is when I started writing stuff for this, and um, we were done December or late 2023 already. And actually, we had a bit of a difficult time uh, just trying to get this album released because, well, when we completed the album, when we had it mixed and mastered and everything was done, we sent it off to prospective record labels, and we got some interest
Mhm.
from a very exciting label, and we got to talking. They told us that they liked our look and they liked our name and stuff, but this music, you're on the wrong side of the fence in terms of what gets streams nowadays. And this was a label profiled, known for progressive music. So I was a little bit shocked, but it's the sign of the times. It's just the industry,
Mhm.
um, that everyone has to, work with Spotify's algorithm and whatnot. So we spent 2024, the whole year, basically kind of in conversation with this label, and um, basically trying to find a new kind of well, compromise where they would be happy and we would be happy. But in the end, we just came to the conclusion that we have to stay true to ourselves, and in the end, we just decided to put out the album as we thought it should be and stay pretty much independent.
Okay, okay. That's interesting. So that is curious, I think, for me, because you said that the progressive is not like the kind of music that are the labels are releasing. That's a curious thing because well, into the strict metal music or the metal music in general, we have, well, Inverse Records that is releasing this new album with you as a partner, and then we have Inside Out Music that is a progressive, completely progressive label. That's a curious thing that you said. But the things works differently than when you ask about the release of new album. So that's, well, returning to this new album. So one thing that captured my attention about this new one is that you're using into this new album like some like geometric parts into the, well, into the cover art, something like the, I don't know. And also the one thing that captured my attention is the name of the album, like Autofiction Part One. So it means that it will be perhaps an Autofiction Part Two for this one, because that's completely normal. Usually progressive metal, progressive rock are related with the conceptual albums and these kind of things. So is this Autofiction Part One? It is a first part for a next, for example, a trilogy or more things.
Well, first of all, this cover art by an amazing artist, Tuomas Välimaa from the band Everwave. Everyone should check that out. Um, the cover art features basically like crystals or shards
Mhm.
of glass, and that's what the album is called as well, Autofiction Part One Shards, and
Mhm.
that is tied to the concept. Because, well, autofiction comes from autobiographical and fiction, which is actually like a trend word in Finnish literature right now, and I just hadn't heard it in terms of music yet. So I just thought, this is an accurate term when it comes to my music, meaning that some of the songs are very personal and autobiographical from straight from my life, and then there are songs that are completely fictional. So that's where that name comes from. But Shards is definitely tied to my own past. Um, uh, it's about growing up with an unstable parent, and there was um, we had a lot of dishes flying around when I was a kid around the house, and so walking around bare feet was not advisable because there you could cut your feet because of the glass shards, and those became symbolic for me when it came to this album. In terms of, you asked about part one. It's the reason why I called this part one was more of a symbolic thing. Again, I really want to make a part two, and who knows, maybe a part three one day. But right now, those don't exist. But because just it was a thing, like, for me, that some of the stuff in the album, the autobiographical stuff, is difficult, heavy stuff emotionally. So naming it part one symbolizes that it's just part one. There are more parts to come in life generally. So it's like an encouraging thing. But I really want to make part two at least one day.
Okay, okay. Now, other thing that captured my attention is that you come from Finland, a country that is more related, because I was there, is more related that with extreme music. For example, black metal, death metal, doom metal, and also we have a great bands from there, Stratovarius, Nightwish, like this, like a different weight, but all the times it's more like the extreme music, and some just I just can remember one of the first band is Kingston Wall, a great
Hmm.
band from there in Finland. But then there's no more bands that play progressive metal or progressive rock in Finland now. And now I see that the last times when I when well we are working as a press, and that is why I just see the last releases in Finland are more related with the metalcore, with the alternative, with hip hop, another kind of music in this one. So why do you decide to lean down to the progressive metal stuff when your country is more involved with a traditional metal, like death metal, black metal, doom metal, power metal, or symphonic metal?
Well, I also have my past with more extreme metal. I started playing guitar because of Children of Bodom and stuff when I was a teenager. It blew my mind. But then after Children of Bodom, I heard artists like Devin Townsend and Dream Theater and Pain of Salvation and so forth. And I just I just fell in love and uh, got a little crazy when it comes to this genre of progressive metal. It's a really wide genre, or like umbrella to put things under, because essentially it can mean almost anything. You can have influences from jazz, folk, hip hop, classical, um, well, whatever genre, pop, just as long as you basically have some electric guitars and maybe like metal drums in there at some point. Um, and I never think about, like, when I'm writing songs, I never think about what genre I want to make, but that the fact that I just grew up with these kind of bands, I think it just rubbed off on me so, strongly, that that's just what comes out when I write music.
Hmm. Okay, okay, okay. I understand. Oh, nice, nice that you start your career listening Children of Bodom, mostly of the people, because that's Alex Lajovich was a genius at that moment with the
Yeah,
first three albums or the four albums. So,
rest
and
in
now
peace.
Rest in peace. Right, right. So now let's talk about now more about the about the promotion for this new album. What kind of promotion do you have for this new album? I saw you provide me the information that you have some tours, some gigs there, and so for this I saw that all you released more than 3 songs on video, so that is a good thing. So perhaps you will release more videos. Perhaps you have more tours in Europe or Japan. Who knows? Or who knows? You have a first touch with the Latin American producers. Who knows? Or perhaps you're already working on a new album. Who knows?
Well, promotion is like one thing that you need a lot of money for, and we do this independently, so it's all from our own pocket. But Inverse Records is a great partner when it comes to releases, and then we have also Gingervine Management is a great PR partner when it comes to PR, especially here in Finland. Then we're playing a few gigs this year all over Finland. Our big dream or one goal from day one has been to grow as a band to the point where we could go on tour abroad. That's like the what we're all working towards and have been working towards all this time. But it's easier said than done. Uh, I mean, anyone could basically book a gig around Europe playing like small pubs and stuff, but it kind of wouldn't make sense for us. So we're looking for that right time to um, when we are a little bit perhaps bigger of a band, when we have a little bit more of a reach, a few more fans and stuff, then maybe we could find our way to um, landing a warm up slot with some great bigger band and touring with them. That would be an amazing thing to happen for us. But right now, we're focusing on, like you said, releasing music videos, playing here in Finland, just taking it one step at a time.
Okay, okay, okay. So now, well, one thing that you said at the beginning is the progressive metal is not like the kind of music that the people listen now today, because sometimes the songs are too long and the people is focused on the span attention. But I'm coming from the 80s, so I understand how it works, the progressive metal, progressive rock, so I don't care about the new trends about this one. Either way,
Yeah.
I just prefer to hear the music, it's the whole album and not just songs. That is why when I recommend in your my in a review for Metal Iron, I said that you need to hear full album from the Joviac and not just songs, because it's impossible to follow if you try to hear just one song. It's impossible to follow. And so for you, how do you take about this info about this new era of the span attention of the people? Because the span attention is in everything. It's not just in the music, in movies, in books, and small videos in YouTube. The people just prefer to check short videos on YouTube or TikTok. TikTok is more just small content, not like the YouTube content, 4, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. Where do I start? Just like just mentioning TikTok, that reminds me like the pop music song length
Mhm.
back in, I don't know, 90s or 2000s. It was
Mhm.
like 3 minutes, 33 seconds or whatever. And I feel like nowadays it's 2 minutes or maybe under even. But TikTok has had a huge impact on basically how young people you know digest media in general. And a lot of these huge pop names, the Ariana Grandes and that kind of artists, they're releasing albums, different versions that are like different speeds, like the slow version of an album or like a sped up fast version of an album that sounds like and yeah, it's weird to me. If I'm completely honest, I would just love to like take take the clock and roll it back like 20 years. Like I'm old fashioned in the sense that I collect vinyl and I love albums as a format, and that's how I want to release music as well. I will admit that I use Spotify just like everyone else. I think it's a great product for the consumer, not that great for the artist usually.
Correct.
Um, and the fact that everyone has to adapt to how they do things and how their algorithm does things means that everyone who wants success, so everyone has to go through the same kind of funnel. Uh, and I think in the end, we, you know, I think it may take something away from the diversity of popular art, I don't know if it's the best thing for culture. I'm not an expert, but yeah, I'm concerned. And now where we have the rise of AI in terms of art, it well, AI art. I don't like calling AI content really art, but it's it's even more concerning. And actually, this fall, I'm going to enter a university master's degree program to research AI music and all these things, so I can try and make some more sense of it all. But yeah, it's a huge subject. I just say I'm really concerned, but if the I yeah, there's also an optimist within me, so I'd like to think that all of these things that are more synthetic and uh, uh, programmed and generated and whatnot, that they're all leading to somewhere, and that somewhere is that at least a little group of people will start appreciating humanity and um, organic human-made art and music more than perhaps they do now. I don't know, but maybe.
Mm. Okay, okay. And one thing that you said about the artificial intelligence, but for me it's not that artificial intelligence, it's continuous software because it's this new software doesn't think. It's just this artificial intelligence is more like you need to say what this intelligence or this software or in this case this software will have to do. There's no this
Mm.
software not think, so it's not in art intelligence yet. So for
Mm.
this one, what's your opinion about now this topic? Because a lot of people are complaining that this will taking jobs for the artists, but for me it's not taking jobs. It's just a tool. That's a different thing. It's a tool just you want to use how you prefer. This will be this one. So what's your opinion about now the artificial intelligence is now involved with the music, with the art, with everything now.
I think, like with every bit of new technology, uh, we aren't keeping up in terms of legislation and regulation. Like the fact that artificial intelligence, or I'm just going to call it AI, even, no matter what it really is, but uh, when it comes to AI image generators, they are available for anyone and everyone. And I know for a fact that some graphic designers who have refused to use AI have lost their jobs and have lost work because of it. And I don't know. Every time I hear usually some kind of tech bro say like, yeah, I'm an artist, I wrote a prompt into Midjourney and now it's on my wall. It's I don't I it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. um uh yeah, I lost my train of thought. It's just, it creates a lot of unforeseen issues that we are too slow to solve. And obviously there's the environmental impact as well, because all of these you know generative AI institutions, they consume a shit ton of sorry for swearing, but or my French, but they consume a lot of energy to teach their models and whatnot. It's I'm just the kind of person, I guess, that sees more concerning signs when it comes to this subject than I see uh like positive things. There are certainly a lot of positive things about AI. For example, within the field of medicine and stuff
Mhm.
like that, we can use it to, advance mankind. But when it comes to the arts, I don't think we need AI because we already have artists and art institutions and art schools and whatnot, that yeah, I just prefer my art to be all human, I guess. But then again, of course, I use tools just like everyone else to make music. I don't use any AI tools for now, but I use a computer that does a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to do with just tape and stuff like that. So it's all about what kind of technology you're comfortable with. But yeah, I guess bottom line, I'm just uh I'm just worried, I guess.
Okay, okay. Well, that is true. Well, what and with this topic, as you can see, there's a lot of people complaining about the AI. But one
Yeah.
thing that now the technology is well, like a replacement a lot of people is when you play some gigs live, because I remember in the 80s or the 90s when or at the beginnings of 2000 until well, and 2010, you can still see amps, you can see still people working behind the band. But now all bands or all producers wants to prefer to just invest a small budget in the band and just hiring one people with a lot of plugins or connect direct to the console because it's more cheaper than just hiring 5 6 people to work in the amps, to work with engineer sound, etc, etc. So, and for this, what's your point of view about now this one, that the new movement in the live presentation is not using amps, is not using a 5 6 a crew to help you to play live. You just need one people direct with the console, plugins, and no more.
I think it's all of the fact that everyone in these uh you know these live institutions is sizing down. I think it all kind of traces back to the crash of physical sales back in, what was it, 2004 or whenever it was, when uh, online piracy became more of a thing. It suddenly meant that people weren't buying CDs anymore or anything else. So suddenly there was a lot less money to go around, and obviously streaming platforms have kind of taken over in terms of um, revenue, but it's still like the case. Just uh, even for big bands, is that it's difficult to even for some bands to break even when it comes to touring. So it's just there are so many costs, and uh, the more people you have on the road or in the studio, this reflects to all sides of the music industry. There's just less money to go around when it comes to uh, the actual production and making of music, because, well, like when it comes to who is actually making the big dollars, the big bucks in the music industry, is, well, the people that get the most streams nowadays, and that is all even like reflected in the Spotify revenue shares and so forth. So personally, I embrace the fact that we have modeling software or hardware that you can use to cut down touring costs, for example. For example, you mentioned Stratovarius in the beginning. I know for a fact that Matthias he's used the quad cortex a lot, which I also use for live guitar purposes, and it just saves you a lot of money that you don't have to lug around this like huge amp everywhere. It's just like this box that has everything. Of course, uh, there are a lot of people that would or that have problems with this, and I know a lot of guitarists that would tell you that you can't get the same feel with a modeling hardware or software guitar plugin or quad cortex or axe effects or whatever. But I guess I'm young enough or I'm not young anymore, but I guess I'm of that age where when I was starting to play guitar, I was already kind of looking at these like um uh artificial or modeling amplifiers or transistor hardware. I've actually only ever once owned an actual tube guitar amp, and that was a Mesa Boogie Mark IV. And I sold it so I could get an Axe Effects.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
yeah, but yeah. So in terms of the studio, I think as long as there's a human element, as long as there's you know some kind of dial or parameter to adjust, then I think that's all right. But um if you have a prompt to say like, okay, make me a mix of this album just like the Black Album of Metallica or something like that, and you just use that straight up, then I think that's kind of the problem, or that would be problematic for me. As long as these tools are used creatively by human beings, then I think we have hope.
Okay, okay. Well, Bill, we are right to the sad moments of this interview. I hope you enjoy this one like me. This new record is a great one. So, congratulations on this one. This is a good
Thank
one.
you.
And perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metallica followers?
Um, Anyone who checks our music out gives us the time of day to actually listen to our music. I just want to say a huge thank you. We don't take any of our fans for granted, and if there's someone in Southern America that loves, or anywhere else for that matter, who loves our stuff, we would love to hear from you.